Tonight, before you go to sleep, imagine being given a choice. You can be a hunter. You can be a tool maker. You can gather food, tell stories around the fire, or help raise children. But there is one job nobody wants. One job so disgusting, so dangerous, and so important that if nobody did it, the entire tribe could die. Welcome to the worst job in the Stone Age. And unlike modern jobs, you couldn't quit. Imagine waking up 50,000 years ago. The air is cold. Your tribe is hungry. Every person has a role because survival depends on it. There are no supermarkets, no hospitals, no police, and no backup plan. Something goes wrong, people die. Every task matters. But some tasks are far worse than others. Most people imagine Stone Age life as hunting mammoths and exploring wild landscapes. The reality was much less glamorous. Ancient humans lived surrounded by danger. Rotting meat attracted predators. Human waste spread disease. Parasites thrived. One mistake could infect an entire camp. And that brings us to the job nobody wanted. Cleaning. Not cleaning a kitchen. Not taking out the trash. Cleaning everything. Archaeologists and anthropologists believe prehistoric camps required constant maintenance. Waste had to be moved away from sleeping areas. Animal remains had to be disposed of. Rotting food had to be removed before it attracted hyenas, wolves, or worse. Imagine carrying the remains of dead animals under the hot sun while flies covered your arms and the smell followed you everywhere. But the worst part wasn't the smell. It was the risk. Ancient humans had no idea what bacteria or viruses were. They didn't know why people got sick. Yet somehow they learned that certain things made camps dangerous. Those who handled waste, carcasses, and contaminated materials were exposed to parasites, infections, and diseases more than anyone else. In many ways they were risking their lives so everyone else could survive. And unlike hunters, they received no glory. Nobody gathered around the fire to celebrate the person who spent the day dragging rotting remains away from camp. Nobody told heroic stories about waste disposal. But without them, the tribe might not last the winter. Yet even that may not have been the absolute worst task. Because sometimes people had to deal with death itself. Imagine living in a small tribe where everyone knows everyone. One day a member of your group dies. There are no funeral homes. No protective equipment. No trained professionals. Someone has to move the body. Someone has to prepare it. Someone has to take it away from the living. Archaeological evidence suggests humans have cared for their dead for tens of thousands of years. But that care came at a cost. In a world filled with predators, the dead could attract danger. Leaving a body near camp wasn't an option. Someone had to do the job. Imagine carrying a loved one across rough terrain while knowing every predator in the area could smell what you're carrying. And if that wasn't bad enough, there was another nightmare. Parasites. Ancient humans lived with creatures modern people rarely think about. Lice, fleas, ticks, intestinal worms. These weren't occasional annoyances. They were part of daily life. Some researchers believe grooming occupied a significant amount of time in ancient communities. Picking parasites from hair and skin wasn't just hygiene. It was survival. Imagine spending hours removing insects from people's bodies because failing to do so could spread disease throughout the tribe. Not exactly the adventure most people imagine when they think of prehistoric life. But here's the strange part. The worst jobs were often the most important. While hunters might return empty-handed, people maintaining the camp protected everyone every single day. A successful hunt could feed the tribe for a while. Preventing disease could save the tribe forever. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions about ancient humans. Survival wasn't won by the strongest person. It was won by cooperation. Every role mattered. The storyteller passed down knowledge. The gatherer found reliable food. The tool maker created weapons and tools. The caregiver protected children. And somewhere in the background, often unnoticed, someone handled the jobs nobody else wanted to do. The jobs that smelled terrible. The jobs that were dangerous. The jobs that carried little reward and enormous risk. In modern society, we often celebrate warriors, explorers, and leaders. But human history was built just as much by people doing unpleasant work that nobody remembers. The people who cleaned camps. The people who removed waste. The people who dealt with disease, death, and danger so others didn't have to. If you could travel back 50,000 years, you might dream of becoming a great hunter or a legendary explorer. But chances are the tribe would need something much less glamorous. Because the most important job in the Stone Age wasn't always the most exciting. Sometimes it was the one nobody wanted. And the uncomfortable truth is that without those forgotten workers, humanity might never have survived long enough to build the world we live in today.